بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. I ask Allah to grant us the sincere intentions. We started speaking about Prophet Yūsuf alayhi salam. We mentioned how he had a dream which his father Yaqub alayhi salam told him not to disclose to his brothers because he feared that all of them, except for Binyamin, would be jealous, and that they were. Then they decided to take him along with them, and they decided to throw him into a well. And then they took back his shirt to their father, and they told him that Yūsuf alayhi salam was eaten by a wolf. Yūsuf alayhi salam was then, according to some narrations, sold by his brothers. Of course, the sale is not valid, but this is what they did. They exchanged him for money. Then Yūsuf alayhi salam, he was with Al-Aziz, and we spoke about how the wife of Al-Aziz, she tried to commit an indecent act with Yūsuf alayhi salam, and he did not have any intention to do that. And then we ended speaking about those women, Niswatun fil Madinati, the women who accused Zalikha, the wife of Al-Aziz, of having fallen for her slave, as they mentioned. But she wanted them to see how handsome Yūsuf alayhi salam was, and then she devised a situation in which they could see him, and they ended up, by being distracted by his beauty, they cut themselves. And they said, they said, "Ma hadha bashara," this is not a human, "in hadha illa malakun kareem." Then the wife of Aziz, out of evil plotting, said, if Yūsuf does not do what I order him to do, I will have him put in prison. Yūsuf alayhi salam said, "As-sijnu ahabbu ilayya," that prison, it is more dear to me than sinning. So he supplicated to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to relieve him from the scheming of those women. And Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala fulfilled gave Yūsuf alayhi salam what he asked for. So then she said to her husband Aziz, again she was lying. She said, "Yūsuf, the Hebrew slave, made me scandalous among the people." So she was saying this in front of those women. She had said to those women that, like, what means Yūsuf and I, we will be together, or something of that sort. And then she threatened him that if he does not do what she asks, that she would have him imprisoned. So then she went to her husband and said, "This Hebrew slave has made me scandalous amongst the people." Because he spoke about the incident of attempted seduction. So this is going to, she said to her husband, put your name and my name in the mud. So although Aziz liked Yūsuf alayhi salam, he also wanted the accusations against his wife to settle down. He knew that his wife was a liar initially. He knew that she'd lied. And we went through that story as well. And he said to her, "Innahu min kaydikunna," this is among the conniving nature of some women, like this act that you did. But at the same time, he was looking out for his own household. But he committed this injustice. He imprisoned Yūsuf alayhi salam for no valid reason. Yūsuf alayhi salam, while he was in prison, he showed the excellence of his manners. People became impressed by him. He was sincere, he was trustworthy, and he was handsome. Two young men among those that accompanied the king at that time also went to the prison with Yūsuf alayhi salam as prisoners. One of them was a baker for the king, and the other prepared drinks for the king. They had been put together in prison because they had been accused of trying to poison the king. The baker and the drinks maker were accused of colluding to poison the king. So they were caught and they were accused, and then they were imprisoned. These two men saw the worshipping that Yūsuf alayhi salam performed in prison. And so Yūsuf alayhi salam gained their trust. They found out that Yūsuf alayhi salam has been granted the knowledge of interpreting dreams. And we went through that last week. Each of these men, and this is mentioned in the Quran, saw a dream. And then both of them asked Yūsuf alayhi salam to explain. So Yūsuf alayhi salam did not immediately interpret their dreams. Rather, he took the opportunity to talk to them about the religion of al-Islam first. He said, أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهُ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ? What is better, to worship many different things, many different conflicting things that people call God, or is it better to worship one God who is perfect in his attributes and not like the creation? So he gave them this lesson in the belief about Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, because that's more important than talking to them about their dreams, even if they've asked about dreams. And like this is the way of the prophets, this is their methodology. 3 men once came to our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, and they asked him a question about the beginning of creation. But like Yūsuf alayhi salam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who is more knowledgeable than Yūsuf alayhi salam, he dealt with these people in the same way. Those people were Muslims also. He started to tell them about the Creator, Allah, and the correct belief in Allah. And he didn't answer that question in the beginning. Rather, he delayed answering it because this matter took priority. So then after that, after calling them to worship Allah Ta'ala alone, Yūsuf alayhi salam explained the meaning of their dreams. The baker had seen himself in his dream with 3 baskets on his head. And birds were eating from the top basket. That's what he'd seen. And the one who prepared drinks, he had seen 3 grapevines in his dream. And he was squeezing juice from those vines. So they asked Yūsuf alayhi salam, tell us about the meaning of our dreams. So he said to the one that saw the grapevines, you will get out of prison. After 3 days, the king will send for you and he will give your job back to you. That's what your dream means. As for the baker, he said, as for you, after 3 days, the king will send for you and he will crucify you. and then the birds will eat from your head. And he said, this is the meaning of what Allah made me. So he said, this is the meaning of what Allah made them see in their dreams. This is what Yūsuf alayhi salam said. قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ. These are the meanings of the dreams. So Yūsuf alayhi salam told the man that he thought would be released from prison, that he knew would be released from prison. He said, when you get released, tell the king about me, because he's going to get his job back. Tell the king about me, and that I have been imprisoned unjustly, unfairly. When that man got released from prison, the devil made him forget to mention Yūsuf alayhi salam to the king. Hence, Prophet Yūsuf alayhi salam stayed in prison for 7 more years. One day the king himself now saw 2 dreams in one night that disturbed him and scared him. He saw 7 fat cows coming out from the side of the sea. And then these cows were swallowed by 7 thin and weak cows. The king awoke after seeing that dream, and then he slept again. He then saw 7 green wheat plants and 7 that were dry. The 7 dry wheat plants also swallowed the 7 green wheat plants. Greenery is a sign of moisture, isn't it? So when the king awoke from that dream, then he looked to find someone who could satisfy him as to the meaning of these disturbing dreams. All of his advisors were unable to. The one in charge of the drinks heard of these dreams and finally remembered Yūsuf 7 years. After 7 years, Ya Latif. He remembered Yūsuf alayhi salam. And he said, I can get you the interpretation of your dreams. And this is not through my knowledge, but I know someone who knows the interpretation of dreams. Send me to him. So the drink pourer had asked to be sent to Yūsuf alayhi salam in prison. The king, he sent this pourer of drinks to Yūsuf alayhi salam, and the man told Yūsuf alayhi salam about the dreams. He said, the meaning of the dreams, the meanings are, it means that there will be 7 fertile years with rain and good crops. People will eat well, there'll be a lot of food. For 7 years. Then, and you will plant every year in these 7 years. Hence, leave the wheat grains in the heads except for the amount that you need for eating. By doing this, the wheat will be preserved. Store it. Then 7 years of infertility will come. And you will need to start eating the stored food. Eating first that which is the oldest. Most of what you have stored will be consumed. And after that, a year of rain will come, and then the trees will bear fruits. So for 7 years, the crops will grow. So what to do is, don't eat all of it, save some of it. Because the next 7 years, what's going to happen is, no crops will grow. So you will eat the food that you had stored. Otherwise, people are going to starve. Then after those 7 years, so 14 in total, after those 7 years, rain will come and the trees will bear fruits. He said, you will squeeze the juice from these fruits. When the drink pourer went back to the king and told him of the interpretations, the king felt that this dream interpreter was right, is true. So the Pharaoh, he was Pharaoh at that time, he said, bring this man to me. When the messenger of the king came to Yūsuf alayhi salam to bring him to the king, Yūsuf did not go at first. He wanted to meet the king, but with the king totally convinced ahead of time of his innocence. So Yūsuf alayhi salam said to him, go back to your king and ask him about the story of the women who cut their hands. Have the king look into the story and know if I was imprisoned rightfully or unrightfully. So the king called the women who had their hands cut. He said to them, what is the story? What had happened? They said, by God, we did not see any wrongdoing from Yūsuf. So they openly declared that Yūsuf alayhi salam was clear of what he was accused of. When the wife of Al-Aziz saw that Allah saved Yūsuf and that now Yūsuf was important to the king, she then confessed. She then confessed after 7 years or more. She confessed. She said, now the truth has appeared and it stands out clearly. She said, I tried to seduce Yūsuf and he did not do anything to me. So once Yūsuf alayhi salam came out of prison and the king knew the truth of his matter, he said, bring Yūsuf to me for he will benefit me a lot. The king said to Yūsuf alayhi salam when he saw him, you have a high and deep-rooted status with us. We have seen great manners from you and you are trustworthy. So Yūsuf alayhi salam was made to feel that he should assume himself close to the king. Yūsuf alayhi salam, he said, now not out of course, greed or want for money or so on, but Yūsuf alayhi salam, he was able to do a job. Okay, he had many talents, of course, but he was able to do a job. And so he said, make me the treasurer of the treasures of Egypt. This person, he would be the one to control where the money goes in Egypt, where the stores of wheat and barley and other staple foods would go. He would be in control of that. And the scholars took this matter here, this situation that is mentioned in the Quran, as a proof that a person can say about themselves if they are qualified for a matter. They can say, it's not haram for them to say, I am qualified for this matter, give it to me. Or, I'm really good at something, alhamdulillah, I'm good at such and such, so put me in charge of it. As long as a person says that without arrogance, of course. He asked for this office, for this station, this role, to implement the rules revealed by Allah Ta'ala in a just and fair manner. He did not ask for it to show off or for its prestige, like people say, oh, he's a treasurer. Of course, Yūsuf alayhi salam didn't do it for that reason. So the king, he assigned this post to Yūsuf alayhi salam, and he discharged, relieved from this post the Aziz that Yūsuf alayhi salam had originally lived with. So Yūsuf alayhi salam became the treasurer of Egypt, and it was a powerful position. And through this, he invited the people of Egypt to al-Islam, and many people accepted. There's a difference between somebody who is not known amongst the people, calling them to al-Islam, and then someone who is entrusted by the king, put in a position of power. So many people embraced al-Islam. And their love for Yūsuf increased when they saw how well he filled his position, how fair and just he was. applying the rules of the religion. And the king himself, at the hands of Yūsuf alayhi salam, embraced al-Islam. When the 7 fertile years came, Yūsuf alayhi salam stored the wheat, as he had advised the king to do, as the meaning of the dream. So he stored the wheat, the extra wheat. Then when the 7 years of drought came to Egypt and the other areas, it affected Ash-Sham, and it affected where Yaqub alayhi salam and his other sons were living. The word spread in the land of Yaqub in Palestine that in Egypt there is food available, and it is under the charge of a kind and just treasurer. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam sent his sons to Egypt to buy food because there was famine. However, he kept Binyamin, the youngest alayhi salam, with him. Banu Israel, they went from Palestine, Ash-Sham, to Egypt to buy food from this just treasurer. These sons did not have any idea that this treasurer was in actual fact Yūsuf alayhi salam, their brother. When the brothers came to Yūsuf, Yūsuf recognized them immediately, but they did not recognize him. Prophet Yūsuf alayhi salam made the brothers feel very comfortable. So it's been many years, it had been many years. And Yūsuf alayhi salam was very young, remember, when he had that dream, and then when they sent him away. So his body was still changing. Like, you have someone who is 9 years old. If you see that 9-year-old when he is, let's say, 25 or 26, they look very different. Especially if you're not expecting it to be them. So he spoke with them, and he managed to learn from these brothers that they had a brother named Binyamin who stayed back with their father. That Binyamin stayed back with their father. Yūsuf started encouraging them to go back to Ash-Sham and come back to Egypt with their remaining brother, emphasizing how accurate he was with his transactions. He promised that if they did not bring their brother with them, he would not give them food in the future. So you bring another person and I give you more food. Perhaps it was like, if you can prove you have this many family members, then I will give you more grains. I will give you more food. Before the brothers left Egypt to go back to their father with the food they purchased, Yūsuf alayhi salam ordered the servants to put the money which the brothers had paid back in their luggage, without them knowing. So Yūsuf alayhi salam had hoped that the brothers, they would like this surprise when they come back, when they return home, that they would have food that they purchased, and they would find the money that they paid with for the food also. I thought they got it for free. When the sons returned to their father Yaqub alayhi salam, they told him about what had happened. Of course, they did not say, "We met Yūsuf," because they still did not know that it was him. They told their father how this just treasurer wanted to meet their brother Binyamin. And Yaqub alayhi salam said, "How could I entrust you with Binyamin when I entrusted you with Yūsuf so many years ago?" And Yūsuf did not return. Then they opened their luggage and found the money which they had paid. And they said to their father, "We have met the best of men. Send our brother with us, so we can go to that man again, and we shall protect him. We will bring the food to our people. We will gain one more animal load as well, for the animal of Binyamin will enable us to bring more food." So then they went to Egypt for a second time. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam sent Binyamin with them on their second trip to Egypt. And he took their promises that they would protect. He made them promise that they would protect him. The only justification for not bringing back Binyamin would be if they all were defeated at once. If they were attacked and they all died at once. So Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam told his sons that they should enter Egypt from separate gates because they were very handsome. They were Yūsuf's brothers. And there were 11 of them. He did that. He told them to enter Egypt through different gates because he feared that they would be afflicted with al-ayn, with the evil eye, nazar. He felt that they would be affected by that because this is a large family and this is cause for many people to be jealous. They were beautiful in appearance, and at the sight of all those beautiful sons together, this could make for envy amongst people. Yūsuf alayhi salam, when he saw Binyamin, he fed all of the brothers and made them feel comfortable. They were to sleep in the house of Yūsuf alayhi salam. Yūsuf alayhi salam wanted to speak to his youngest brother, Binyamin, privately. So he made the accommodations, he arranged things in such a way that Yūsuf alayhi salam gave them all mattresses to sleep on that were for 2 men. Since there were 11 of them, one would be by himself. Hence, he said to the brothers, "Let Binyamin sleep in my quarters, for he does not have a space to sleep." Yes, we're going to stop here, inshallah. For now, with this part of the story, inshallah. We're going to break for how long? 5 minutes. Let's break for 5 minutes, then inshallah we'll come back. La ilaha illallah, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim.